We are not live. We are not live. I love our little dance at the beginning, Gary. Hello, lovely Gary. Hello,
Hello, hi
lovely
Rachel.
YouTuber. How are we today, Gary? How are we today?
We're good. Oh yeah, very good actually. I've done a little bit of tutorial with a student this morning here in my studio, which is lovely.
Get
And she's,
you
I
private
know,
sessions.
I know.
I'm going back to university, Gary,
What?
only to do a
Tell
talk.
me more. Tell me more.
Only to do a talk. I've been asked to go and
Ah,
talk in Nottingham, in the university there, about being an entrepreneur, a female entrepreneur coming from TB into setting my own business up, Crafty Monkeys, etc. So yes, that's going to be rather exciting. So I was asked about
yeah,
that yesterday. I've got my
yeah.
tea today. I've made a
I've
very
got my
fancy
tea.
tea. I've made an Earl Grey from Betty's. Ooh.
Well, mine's just ordinary Indian strong breakfast type tea.
Well, here we are, Gary. So obviously in our tea time tutorials with our wishy-washy tea and our other tea of preference, um, we are going to do some crafting today after a spot of
Mm.
mindfulness. You can see very aptly we have feathers today, and I do think that feathers are very meaningful. I think if we find feathers, there are some amongst us who believe that they are left for us, that they have messages, but we're going to create our own feathers and put our messages on our feathers. And this, of course, is part of our monkey motivation that is happening right now over on Crafty Monkeys. All I'm doing is putting a quote or two a week up there to try and inspire you on the social media front. But also every Friday, Gary and I are doing a little thing like this. And it's designed to make you stop for 20 minutes and give yourself some time, which is what we found in your art club last night. Give yourself some time to create and just kind of step back from the woes of the world, the troubles, the worries. So if you want to skip ahead, I have put the time codes below so that you can skip ahead and go straight to the crafting. Or if you want to stick around for a few minutes while we discuss some mindfulness, then you can. So bing, they've gone or they've stayed. So for those of you who are staying, I often just throw out a quote to Gary and then we discuss. So I was watching a podcast with the wonderful Mel Robbins, or listening to a podcast with the wonderful Mel Robbins, and she was talking about how we can stop ourselves from change through fear. And she believes that the way that we stop ourselves from changing and doing things is through fear. And she said, and I hate to say it to you, and she said, but if you are at the moment going through struggles and tough times, and you're not changing the things that are causing you angst in your life, that is you that is doing that. And it's your own fears and your own thoughts, and only you can change it. And I look at when she says in her Instagram, I've got news for you, no one is coming to save you, which at first you can go, oh, but I want to be saved. But she's right, no one
Mm.
is coming to save you, only you can save yourself. So how
Yeah.
do you find the strength, Gary? How do you get over
Oh
the
my
fear?
gosh.
I know this is a big one, isn't it? We've got
Mm.
to try and condense it to 2 minutes. How do you face your fears and stop those thoughts from going around in your head? I'm interested. I
It's all
struggle
about
with it.
it is confidence, and it is confidence that in yourself, that you know, if you need to move forward, that it's going to be better forward than it is behind you. Why are you moving forward? If you were happy where you are, or you're happy with the situation, a scenario, you'd stay there. So but you're not, so it's got to be any better, hasn't it? It can't really get any worse. I think the thing is, what we're scared of, it's going to be worse.
Yeah, but I think in the end it does come down to your gut instinct and your intuition. And like you were saying there, Gary, it is that fate, it's that fear of what in front of you is not going to be as good as where you are. But the thing is, if you are recognizing in your life that where you are is not a good place, then it can only get better. It just can't get worse, really. If you're in a bad place, if you're
Yeah,
in a bad
yeah.
place, it's like being down at the bottom of a well. And if you're stuck there and it feels awful, the only way to go is up. And you don't know what's up there, but you know it's pretty bad where you are right now. So try and, climb out,
Mm.
try and make that leap. But it is
Yeah.
difficult. But I think she is absolutely right that we are our own worst enemies, and we stop ourselves from
Mm.
from progression and progressing in our life. There we go. That is the lesson for the day. Keep marching forward, people. Keep
Yes.
marching forward and just try and, stop those fears and those talks, those voices in our heads that really do try and control us.
Mm.
Right, let's do our crafting now then, Gary. So
Okay.
what is this exercise all about today? What are we going to get out of today?
We are going to, so it's called, you can call it angel feathers or just feathers, but it's about, I've given you a template of a feather, though you might find other templates that you want to draw or draw this feather out. You can directly, the idea is you can directly color this in on the page that you printed out, or you can, like I'm going to do, as I'm actually going to use this as a template, and I've got some paper under here, which is like just cartridge paper, and I'm going to cut the feather shape out. And I'm going to use some wet media. So I'm going to use some watercolor paints, and I might go in with my biro and some felt tips. You've got some felt tips there. And you can decorate these feathers however you want. As colorful, the better, I think. So the idea is that you just, again, you're being mindful, you're spending some time coloring in or decorating. And then I've given a sheet of prompts and affirmations and some quotes, which we can look through in a minute. And we can write them, either you can cut them out or you just write them on the back of the feather. And then they are sort of prompts and affirmations of feathers. You can make loads of them, hang them up. You can find a little branch and you can put them in the window and you can have all your feathers hanging from there. And it's just something, again, fun to do, something to include the young people who are on holiday from school or something like that to join in as well. Or you might just be on your own, and it's just something fun to do on your own also. All right.
Yes.
So you've got the template. We've put this up on the website for free, so you can just download the template and the information.
Yeah.
Now, you could colour. What you can do, maybe, Rachel, if you're going to use felt tips, you could just colour directly in and then cut it out at the end if you want to. But
Okay.
I'm going to cut this template out in some cartridge paper. So I've just got some cartridge paper here, and literally I'm just going to fold it. So I'm going to cut two out at the same time. I'm going to hold my template over the top, and I'm going to cut through all the layers just roughly round. You don't have to be too accurate, but as long as you've got a basic feather shape. And then you've got, I'm using cartridge paper rather than the copy paper for wet media, because I think, and I've mentioned this before, it will buckle. So it tends to buckle because it's only a thin paper. But, you know, if you're not worried about the buckling, then, you know, go with the copy paper. You can always put it under, when it's dry, put it under a book or a magazine and flatten it that way. Or you can even, if you're careful, and you put a bit of paper over the top, you could even iron it as well if you want to. But so I'm just going to cut out.
And I can just start colouring.
You can just start colouring. And I want you to colour, you know, think of it as a really decorated, colourful, almost like it could be a parrot or an exotic bird. You could do it however you want to. We're using colouring methods of colouring. But if you're not into colouring and you really enjoyed last week's little prompt, you could always use that like a collage idea from magazine papers, and you can do that as well. Now, yes. I'm going to just show you a little trick as well, how to make, so if you want to make your feather a little bit three-dimensional, so this is cut out from the cartridge paper. If you score down the center, and I'm using a curve, so you might use the side of a plate or something curved, and it's curving with the feather. And if you just use not a really sharp instrument like a sharp knife, because that's going to cut through it. There's something that's sort of pointed. I'm using this sort of bit here, but you could use the scissors close and just the piece of the scissors, and you're just scoring one side. Then you'll find that if you then just tweak your feather like that, you get a much more three-dimensional feather because it's got a curved fold in it now. So you can have it like that. So if you want to play around with manipulating it as well, you can. So I'm just going to use a little bit of wet media. So I'm going to just paint on yours. You're getting stuck straight in with your colouring.
I am.
Passionate pink there, a lot of pink.
Yeah.
We used a lot of pink last night, didn't we, in the art school? Last night we were doing quite a lot of pink, which I like pink.
Isn't pink the colour of this year? You know, they have those, what are those colours called that they have every year?
Oh, like on trend colours.
Yes, the Pantone colour.
Yes. Yes.
I'm sure that shocking pink is the Pantone colour of the year. But I love shocking pink. I love wearing shocking pink, but I love yellow as well. If anybody's looked at the website, they'll see my bright yellow cardigan. But I think yellow is yellow is the colour of communication. Apparently, if you see a lot of yellow, communication is coming that way. I don't know what the pink means, but I just love these colours. But it's interesting because I'm kind of using the gradation thing that we used in
you are
last week.
So I'm just whacking on some color. I'm just doing, I've done this sort of pink color with the like a sort of a green, a limey green. And if you know anything about color theory, I'll just say that actually green is the opposite to the color of red. So reddy pink tones, if you want something to stand out, you use a green color next to it. So a bit like if you think red and green for Christmas and things like that. But if you use shades of green and shades of red, that works just as well. So I've just really just put that down very, very quickly. I'm going to let that dry a minute while I go on to my next one. So I'm just going to quickly do my next one. I'm going to put the score in the back. So I'm going to just score the back of it like that. Like that.
And once again, you know, Gary, I mean, I know some might just go, well, this is just colouring in. I mean, I'm certainly doing that. And people go,
it is like that, yeah.
But the thing is, okay, it is just colouring in, but you know what it's making me do? It's making me stop. It's making me calm. It's making me forget my troubles for the moment. Pack up your troubles. Come on, get happy. Oh, YouTube probably won't like that.
They won't copyright on the song.
They will. But you know, that's what these exercises are all about. It's you know, it's not creating amazing art pieces, but it is just about stopping and enjoying yourself. And as we always say, this is what kids do, and we do it with them when they're younger, and then we stop doing it for ourselves. Why?
Exactly. Yes.
The kind of
we
thing we do.
Yeah. Yes. So now what is there? What I'm going to put a blue. I think I'm going to put some orange in with the blue. Again, I'm working with that. The orange is the opposite tone. Orange is the opposite tone to blue. And so orange and blue always complement each other quite well. So they're complementing colors. So I find with a nice, you know, with a brush, you can work quite quickly. So you can get lots done with a brush. So if you're someone that perhaps, I want to get this done really, really quickly, then you can do it with a brush. But I would say, yeah, get the color down. And then once it's dried, I'm going to go back in and I'm going to use my biro or a felt tip pen and then start to work with it again. So I'm going to just use that there and there like that. Now I might, what I've got is my, because I'm using, just lean down, because I'm using my wet media, I've got my hairdryer here. So bear with me.
We're bearing with. I'm just making mine a super colourful feather.
So that's their dry. Now, obviously, you don't need a hairdryer on hand. You might be doing this at your desk at work. You might be in a caravan on holiday for the half term or something like that. And again, it just give it. If you do use paints, then just let them dry naturally, and then you can go back into it. So I'm going to just use now. I'm going to use a little biro, and I'm just again going to just do some little decorations. I like to just almost like doodle. That's what you're doing. You're just going to doodle on the feathers itself. So just draw patterns on there and then just see what comes out. Just go with it. Just go. I'm doing like little circles. You might do little crosses. You might do some little cross hatching. You might do some, you could do some words at this stage if you wanted to, but I tend to do words a little bit later. Do some little crosses.
Interesting, when I put my pink over the blue, then I get that purple.
Yes, so you're layering the colours. So that's looking lovely, Rachel.
Well, do you know, I mean, I'm enjoying myself. I am enjoying myself.
Just tell everyone, like, what actual felt tips are you using? Because you've got really vibrant colours there. What colour?
Yeah.
What felt tips?
Well, they're just from WH Smith's, which is a caution stationery in the UK. They're not fancy felt tips. In fact, someone bought them for me with a colouring book, and I just thought they were really cool.
Right. So are they
really nice and really bright? They've got a nice, precision tip look on them.
Yeah.
They do give out a lot of colour, but they're just literally brush pen, WH Smith's. Nothing fancy. It was actually one of Maddie's friends who bought them for me, and so I know that they wouldn't be, you know, hugely expensive because she was a teenager, not earning much money. I'm not saying I'm not grateful. I'm incredibly grateful. What I'm saying is that they're not expensive pens. I know that for a fact. I mean, and you know, interestingly, in our box of tricks that we have, I have got really expensive. You know, there's Japanese nib pens, and I've got
Yeah.
you know, those pens that you can blend with and things. And I just find, you know, for what I'm doing, do I need them? No.
No, exactly. I heard a lovely little tip on I think it was either on Instagram or it was on YouTube. But if your felt tips are starting to go a little bit dry, starting to run out, if you use that hand sanitizer, the alcoholic-based ones, if you just put the nib in a little bit of that alcoholic gel, it revitalizes the felt tip and you get a little bit more color out of it. So it's a little tip. It seems I haven't tried it yet, but that was the thing that I was reading about. So if worth when my felt tips run out, I will then start having a little play with that. So yeah. Okay. Well, that hasn't taken you long at all, Rachel, to create one, has it?
No. But the thing is, I could just keep going. I mean, I could just keep, you know, if I wanted to. That's the beauty of it, isn't it? You can just
Yeah. Yes.
do as much or as little as you want. But I feel like it's sort of lowered my blood pressure.
That's what you want.
That's what we want.
Yes.
I'm having a lovely cup of tea. And I, you know, I know that people are enjoying these little videos that we're doing because, you know, we're getting some lovely feedback on the old social medias. And it's interesting when we do our art classes and people say, oh, I watched your YouTube, look, this is what I did. Because sometimes we don't, I mean, if you are following along, please do leave us comments below and tell us, you know, what you, because we hope that you're just enjoying these little, very simple, you know, I mean, when I've been out there looking on YouTube, there are some wonderful videos, but there are some that, you know, you have to have the proper stuff and set yourself up in your studio, and it's like that's not what we're about, you know. And that's nothing wrong with those videos. Those are fantastic. If that's what you want to do, amazing. But why can't you do both? You know, why can't you do something very simple one day and something complicated the next? But what we do here, we're not professing to teach people new skills. What we're trying to do is get people to stop.
Yes.
Like,
yes. And play. So now, Rach, you can cut that out. So you can cut your out. So you've got one, so it's free. And then I'm going to get you to have a look at the affirmations. You might have one of yourself. Or you might have
your affirmations, which, as we said, if anybody wants to go to the website, CraftyMonkies.com, I'll put the links below. You can just download these templates and the affirmations, so it makes it nice and easy for you for free, completely for free. But I was looking at these affirmations and they were really lovely, actually. Really lovely.
Yeah, so. I mean, they were ones that sort of I found prompts on the internet, and then I didn't use all of them, and then some of them made me prompt and sort of like I started to develop my own ones, so that you don't have to stick to these, but they just give you an idea of what an affirmation or a positive quote, that's all they are. They're just positive quotes, really. And that I think it's quite nice to then, after you spent your time putting on, you know, you've colored in your feather, then you can then think about a positive quote. So you could then, what I'm thinking of, so you could have the other side. If the other side looks quite nice and clean, you can write it on, you can write your affirmation on with a pen. Or you might, if the color's gone through, what you can do is then you can just take a pair of scissors and cut it out. You can stick the affirmation inside, or you can have it as a tag. So you can have it as a tag hanging off. So for instance, I'm going to pick the creativity one. Use creativity to transform your pain into positivity. So if you're feeling a bit like, oh, I'm not very happy, then use creativity to actually make you feel much more positive and less worrisome and pain, like you're got the worries of the world on your shoulders. So use creativity to do that. So you could cut it out like this. And what you could do, you've got a bit of tape or a bit of glue or something, you could just stick it to the bottom of the stem. So it could just be coming off the bottom of the stem like that. Hang on, I'll put it that way, I think. You can just wrap it around the bottom of the stem. Remember this, I've slightly tweaked the stem. You can curl these little, so where the feathers bits at the end, you can just curl them up. So it's starting to look a little bit more three-dimensional. So you can just give them a little tweak like that. So that works quite nice. That's it. There we are. So you can have it like that. Or you could then put it inside. It doesn't have to be hanging off. It could be literally Either write it by hand or you stick it inside, so you can stick it behind there. And this one is, I am a magnet for good things in my life.
Yes.
See, that's very positive.
Yeah.
It's almost like those little like quotes you get that come out of cracker at Christmas time, or a fortune cookie or something like that. You just put them on. And again, if you're working with other people, sit around having a go at playing with these or whatever, get people to choose which one they'd like to, and then discuss why they've chosen that affirmation and what it makes you feel like. So we are. So I've got one affirmation stuck behind, and then I've got one hanging off as like a little tag.
I love these. They're so cute. I'm going to put this on my board behind me so I can see it every day and remind me.
What affirmation did you choose, Rachel?
I shall show you in a second.
All right. Okay. I need a drum roll.
Yep, in a drum roll. I've just put some string around the top of mine like that.
Oh, good idea. Yes.
And then, like you say, I just sort of curve that around. One thing I would do, I think, is I would actually do this affirmation on a bigger sheet of paper, rip it so it's got a ripped edge, maybe color wash it with a I mean, I could actually, I've got a very light, what was that pink? That was that'd be quite nice just to take off the
whiteness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. To tie it in with that. Okay, lovely. So like that. There we go. So yeah, that is my feather.
Great.
So as you can see, I've just done all that colouring and then I've tied it together. And my affirmation I've chosen is, I think it might be in reverse if I show it there. No, it's right. It's right. Hang on, to go the right way.
No.
Everything is happening perfectly for me.
There you go.
Once again, I think that you could, do a bit of mindfulness on that phrase as well, because some people might say everything is happening perfectly for me. Don't think it is. I think always as it's meant to be. How many times have you read when, or heard that sometimes out of the worst times of your life come the best moments? Because it just means that you're ready to move on to the next journey. And I think the thing is, whether or not you believe it's true, I think it's good to have faith in sayings like that. I think it's good to have faith in something like that, because it makes you just go, okay, everything's okay. Everything's okay. Everything is happening as it should be. And there is going to be good stuff around the corner, because guess what? Then you'll start attracting good things around the corner. So exactly. That's my phrase.
And that what you were just saying is a bit like what we were saying about going in the deep water and not knowing what's there. At the time, you think it's absolutely dreadful, and then, but only hindsight's a great thing. Looking back, and you're in the future then, or timeline of the future, and you're looking back, think, oh, at the time I really was devastated. Now I'm so pleased that thing happened, because this is where I am now. But when you're at that time, that's the time when you really need to read the affirmation and to think, yes, I'm just going to believe in this, because it's got to get better, or it's got to change, or what I'm doing now is going to only send me to a place that I need to be in the future.
Yeah.
So
exactly. And that's what it's about. It's about making these, putting them in a place. It could be on a kitchen corkboard. It could be stuck on your fridge with a fridge magnet. It could be on the wall wherever you're working. And just when you're in times of need, just look at it, read it, take it on board, and see if you can make yourself feel better. Yours look beautiful, Gary, I have to say. Yours look lovely, as usual, as per usual.
Nice bit of colour. There's not really any at the moment here in the Northern Hemisphere. I think we talk about North and South Hemisphere, but we haven't got a lot of colour here at the moment. Not really many bulbs have come up yet. And so anything that's a bit colourful to have around, at least for this month of February, I think is going to just bring in a little bit more energy into the home.
Yeah.
And so then, okay, when we get into spring, we'll have all the spring flowers up. But for now, we just need to bring in a little bit of more colour into our homes, or into our lives, really, don't we?
We do. Well, do you know what? Let's have a look on the board. Yep, there we are. Let me just use my little pin, and then I've got my affirmation that I can read. There it is. Ta-da! A lovely little bit of colour. And that's the idea. That is what we're talking about. Lovely,
Exactly.
lovely, lovely, lovely. Well, thank you so much, Gary. And thank you to you, lovely YouTuber. Please do like our video if you have enjoyed this experience. If you wanted to leave any comments below, we will talk to you. We will answer them for you. But yes, the buttons are below. And if you subscribe to the course and hit the bell, you'll be notified when we go live. So we would love to have your company and whenever that may be. And of course, have a look at in the Tea Time tutorials list, because there are loads of other videos there for you. I think we're approaching 30 videos now. Gary, Tea Time tutorials. And of course, this is a monkey motivation board, so it'll look slightly different, but it's the same thing. It's the same. It's a bit of mindfulness every week. So thank you so much to you, lovely YouTuber. Thank you to Gary. And we will see you on the next one.
Bye.